Hello, everybody. I hope you had a good weekend. I apologize for not getting this out there yesterday. As you know, I like to get your recordings out on Sundays, but they just got away from me, and today looks so nice outside. It might get away from me too, so I thought I better get this done quickly. So, anyhow, we're into week 8. How exciting! We're getting real close. Come on, little feller. Okay, so announcements next week. Woohoo! Is spring break. Put your hands in the air and head it. So when you're down in Miami Beach on the beach, I hope you have a good time down there. But then when we come back, right after we come back that Friday, you'll have your health ecology project due, and we're going to talk. I posted a little intro to that about doing data vizzes as part of your health ecology project, and I hope that you found some of those links useful. Why don't we take a look at some of them right now? And hold on one second. Data viz seems like a word the phrase that the people from Tableau seem to be really working with a lot, and it seems to be a very popular way to do it. Now, the reason I think it's useful for you guys to actually do this is because I think it'll give you an essential ingredient for your portfolio of work that you have done, and it will also allow you to post things and share things with other people in the data visualization world. And I think that's useful. I think it'll be a big help for you as you get going. And where are those links? And I think that you'll enjoy working on this. It seems like, and this is the other reason why I wanted to have you use this format. It seems like a very creative thing to do. And as you know, I think creativity is the main thing that we have as humans, basically. And so the more that you can exercise your creativity, the better you become at it. So, think about what it means to visualize data, and I still can't find the links I wanted. Where is it? This one is interesting, although not quite as in-depth as what I want you guys to do. And it's a data visualizations site where you can post your work and let other people take a look at it and critique and comment and socialize and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's useful, and there's a lot of student work on this site. So that's kind of fun. But this thing is so slow when I'm recording with Camtasia. It just drives me nuts. I don't know what Camtasia does to my machine, but it sure kills it. There's just, look at them all whirling up there. And, there's just nothing happening. So anyhow, here's one. Come on. Here's one that's interesting. I mean, it's looking at the capacity of power plants in Spain, along with the primary fuel that it uses. And the reason that it's interesting is that it takes this pretty dull topic, important, but not very exciting, and puts it into a format that's interesting to look at, that's useful, and conveys the big theme of the data rather than the explicit capacities and stuff of the data. And that's why I think it's useful, and that's why it makes a good visualization. Let me look. I'm going to go back to our PowerPoints here because I've got a good one in there, but it's way toward the end. So wonder if I can scroll down here. Probably not. Come on. I'm looking for recommendations on different software to use to create videos. Not for this semester, but because I'm just going to work out this semester with Camtasia, but in the future, something that can make my machine useful so I can do something while I'm making these videos. Sorry about all the whining. All right, well, that's just not going to happen. So anyhow, so look up data visualizations, and you Google it, you're going to find lots of neat stuff. If you Google data viz, you're going to find some great sites, mostly from Tableau. And by the way, you're welcome to use Tableau Public if you'd like, and to do this assignment. Yeah, I have no real preference. You can use it for any of your assignments, as a matter of fact. I have no real preference. I chose Data Looker and BigQuery mostly because A, they're free, and B, they're from Google, and C, they have lots of nice public data sets available on them. I'm not so sure about Tableau Public. I don't know what it's got on there, and I don't know, what it takes to use it. So, but if you would like to, you're more than welcome to do that. And you'll see some just really outstanding, really creative work on the Tableau site. They have a VOTD, Viz of the Day, or yeah, I think it's Viz of the Day, and really interesting stuff about all kinds of different subjects. A lot of them only have a few pieces of data on them. That I'm thinking about one that was spectacular, and it was about rhinos, and it had a picture. Beautiful picture of a rhino's head in the background, and then it said that X number of rhinos are killed every year and by poachers, and that equates to Y rhinos per day, and save the rhinos. Interesting. Fantastically creative, really cool, and really useful. It gets right to the point of what the person who was making it wanted to say, and says it very quickly. And I love that, and in a very creative fashion. You'll see others out there about about women's health issues. Particularly, there's one about women's nutrition in different countries around the world. And, once again, a few graphics, really interesting layout, beautiful colors, gets right to the point of what the person was wanting to say. Really cool. So there you go. Anyhow, so that's our health ecology project, and I think you'll find that interesting. Your final exam, we'll post that with the discussion video on the 26th of March, and that'll be due on the 30th. Now, the 26th is not when I usually post stuff for you. I think it's a Tuesday. But what I'm trying to do is line you up with my other classes. So that's why we're doing it on the 26th. Now, that same week, you're going to have a final project summary due, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. And then I'll give you feedback on the following Tuesday in my courses, and via Zoom during office hours. If you'd like to Zoom with me, I encourage that. Great idea. Then you've got a few weeks to work on this, and about 2 weeks. And then your final project presentation recording, Remember, you're going to do a recording because we can't do presentations. This is a async format class, and I hate to bust up the whole asynchronous nature of the class by giving you a final presentation that has to be done at some certain time and place. So anyhow, you can do that recording, post it to YouTube like I do, or whatever you want. And then your final project report, which is a written version of your presentation, is going to be due on the 30th. Now, why written version of the presentation? Because you need some experience writing. You all have to do a capstone, and that capstone is going to involve writing. And what my experience has been, and I've done, I think it's 350 around capstones, is that it's the writing part that really slows students down. You guys are great at what you do, great at coming up with ideas and everything, but it's the writing that's hard. And so the more practice you have writing, the better off you are. If you're nervous about your writing abilities, the best thing to do is to practice. And that means writing something, no matter what it is, something every day. So that's what my experience has been. So your final project proposal, I'm calling it a proposal. We're going to use Azure DevOps Project Summary for this. Is that once again, project in preparation for your final capstone. So project groups can be up to 4 people and can be the same group you've worked with all semester, if you so desire. On the other hand, if you want to shake things up and you want to choose a different group to work with in your final project, you're welcome to do that too. Not a problem whatsoever. We're going to use Azure DevOps Project Summaries in the form of a proposal, and that'll be due on the 28th. You should be pretty used to Azure DevOps at this point, and the project summary is just kind of an open text box, and you can put anything that you want in there, and I'll get to what to put in there in just a second. I'll give feedback by the next Tuesday, and then available by Zoom. Your final project presentation. So I'm not going to post any formal videos during the time when you're working on this final project, and because I want you to use the time that we would normally have, that you would normally spend on class on working on a project. I think you will learn more from working on a final project than any goofy little lecture that I post online. So that's what I expect you to do during the time when I give you time off. I'm still available. It's not like I'm leaving town or anything. So if there's any way that I can help, I'm more than happy to do that. But I do want you to take the time to work on your project. And you present your final project to myself and your colleagues in a recording due on the 19th. You may post it to YouTube, whatever. Okay, that's all that. We already talked about that. Project ideas. The one requirement I'm going to make for your final project is that I want you to use the format of telling a story with data. So this class we've had is about formats and ideas related to visualization. So the first format that we did was an e-commerce commercial report. Why? Because I think a bunch of you are going to end up working in e-commerce. So a little bit of experience with that doesn't hurt. The second one we did was in presenting a proposal for your real estate development, another commercial, industrial kind of a thing, because once again, I think that's where you guys are going to end up working. And this third one is a data viz, and I think that's a creative and interesting format. And this fourth one is telling a story with data. And in this case, what I want you to do is to use a combination of text and graphics organized to have a beginning, middle, and end. tell a story. I'm going to talk about what stories are like, but the basic idea is to tell a story with data. I want you to use multiple data sources, not just one, but several if you can. More than one, that's all I'm saying. You can do it in BigQuery and Data Looker, no problem whatsoever. So using the same technology that we've been using all semester long. If you would rather do it in Tableau, you're welcome to do that. That's not a problem. The other thing that I want you to pay attention to is that your final project for this course should be related to your final capstone. If you don't have an idea about what your final capstone should be, now's the time to start thinking about that. Don't just randomly do projects. What you should be doing is thinking about, a big idea that you have for your final capstone, and then treating each one of the courses that you take as a chance to work on different aspects of your big idea. And that big idea is going to drive all of your work and all your other classes. And of course, this class is really useful for final capstone because it'll help you to get used to the little more interesting, more pleasant to look at ways to display data and show data and summarize results and all that kind of stuff that goes a long way to doing a final capstone report. So, think about some sort of a big idea. Where do you want to go with what's the job that you want to be qualified for to start your career in data analytics? That's another way to think about this. So your final project should be somehow or other related to your final capstone. It should be interesting to your team. That's incredibly important. I can tell you one thing, by the time you're done with your final capstone, you're going to be really tired of the subject that you're working on. But at this point, before you even start, it should be interesting to you. Find an idea, an area to do research, something that's interesting to you. And that shouldn't be different than the area of work where you want to start your first analytics job. Where you do your work should be interesting to you and to your team. So, you're doing a team project here, so you've got to find something that's interesting to all the members of the team and not just one member of the team. I am happy to talk about topics and help you out as best I can. But most of all, I want you to be creative. Come up with some creative idea. We've got, now you have competition with machine learning and artificial intelligence for all the boring parts of your job. But the creative parts of your job as a data analyst are nothing that AI is going to be able to do anything about. It's all humans, and your creativity is a uniquely human trait, not a computing trait. So exercise that human trait. Be creative. Think about what the world should be like and your role in it. So your project summary. What should it say in your project summary? Well, you should have an introduction in there. And by the way, you could, if you wanted to, open up that window in Azure DevOps and type in introduction, lit review, methodology, deliverables, project plan, and then start filling in the blanks. I don't care if you use this as a boring kind of a format, but it's a format that'll work, so why not? So in the introduction, what do you want to do and why do you want to do this project? The why part is really important because it determines most of what the project is all actually about. It's about the why. Why are you doing this determines what you do. And so make sure that you talk about why this project and not, the thousands of other projects that you could do. Your literature review, how have other people addressed similar projects? You probably don't have a unique idea out there. There's not that many of those anymore. But how have other people addressed this? So, what similar sides of this? Are there similar ways that people have approached this area? Are there any inspirational formats out there that you looked at and you said, man, I love that format, I want to use that? Those are important parts of the literature review. And then other steps are kind of linked together. Your methodology. How are you going to do what you plan to do? So, this is what you should have been doing all along in Azure DevOps, but and you did it in the form of user stories and project requirements and stuff. Now I'm asking you to put it in words. And the reason why I'm asking you to put it into words is that this is most probably the A format that you might use for your final capstone. And other faculty that you work with are going to say, what's your methodology? What are your deliverables? What's your project plan? They're not going to be as used to working in Azure DevOps as you are. So in that case, you need to learn to communicate to them. So your methodology, how you're going to do is what you plan to do is a series of steps. First, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this. But it's got a little difference in it, in that when you say, first I'm going to do this, the deliverable, there's going to be a deliverable. The world is going to be changed based on your first I'm going to do this. That deliverable, how the world has changed, goes down as a deliverable. So first, I'm going to deploy five instances in Amazon Web Services. The deliverable of that will be an architecture with 5 servers, configured in AWS. First, I'm going to secure the data, and I'm going to clean the data and make sure that that the data represents what I think it represents. The deliverable of that is clean data that represents what you think it's going to represent. So those are, each step in your methodology has a deliverable associated with it, or else you wouldn't do it. The next part of this is the project plan. Well, the project plan is about timing. And each one of the steps in your methodology that yields a deliverable also takes time to complete. And that's where the project plan comes in. So methodology, deliverables, project plan are kind of interrelated. And we can kind of see that in Azure DevOps. But in your proposal, you're going to have to be more explicit about that and really use that format to say, first I'm going to do this. And when I complete doing that, the world is going to be changed in this way. And it's going to take me this amount of time to do that first step in my methodology. And then work your way through all the other steps in that same sort of a fashion. I don't care if you do 3 columns. I don't care how you structure it, but I just want to be able to see that logic in what you're writing. Okay, and so that's, I think that's enough about that. Your project presentation should be, maybe 20 minutes, doesn't have to be really long, just a short version of what you found. And it should include information such as a title page. Your project is to tell a story. Well, tell your story. Show me how it all works out with the story that you put together. What's your big idea? What's the main takeaway that your audience should have once they have seen what you're doing? And then any future research. This is another throwback to your capstone project, where we always ask you to say, if your cousin's uncle's brother or sister were going to join the program and they needed a capstone project, what would you tell them to work on based on what you've done? That's what future research really means. And so we always ask you to say something about that. Not that people are going to be, people used to look through the old capstones to find ideas for their own, but I don't know that anybody does that anymore. So what are you going to do? Okay, your final exam. And final exam, I'll post it with a discussion on the 26th and do on the 30th. Consists of multiple, probably around 8 essay questions, from which you can choose any 2. The reason I use that format is because what I hate more than anything, probably not more than anything, but it bothers me, is when somebody says, oh, the reason why I did a lousy job on the essay is because I didn't understand the question. And that bothers me mostly because I want you to be able to use your understanding of the question to do a good job explaining the question. So if you just say, oh, I didn't get it, well, that's bad. And so if I give you a whole bunch of questions to choose from, then you get to find one that you do understand and then respond to that question. So that's what I'm hoping for, and you'll be able to do with this thing. So let's see. Okay, each essay will be about 2 or 3 pages long. Not a huge deal. But I want you to think about these ideas. I may give you some data to analyze. I may, just based on the format for this class, I may, do something a little bit different, but that's basically where I'm headed. You can use any resources at your disposal except other people. So, Google stuff, research stuff, figure stuff out using whatever resources that you want, and then bring that understanding that you gained into your essay question. That's great. I love that. Let's see. So in the video that I posted on the 26th, I'll go over each of the questions and discuss how you might want to answer it. So I'll give you more verbal description and stuff in that video. And then I'll be available for questions during my office hours. Not a problem. You can call me, you can email me, you can do any of those things. But just a word of warning, this is due on a Saturday night. I'm usually not that available on Saturdays. So, if you've got a question, you should probably answer it before Saturday comes along, okay? I think I'm going to stop this video right now, and then I'm going to do another video with the material for this week about telling stories. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.